Saving money won't make you rich. Those were the words the wise man told me. When I first heard that, I almost laughed. Everywhere I looked, people were saying the opposite. Save more. Cut your spending. Hide your money for the future. But the old man just looked at me calmly and said, if all you do is save, you will only protect what you already have. And if what you have is small, it will always stay small. I didn't understand him then, so he told me a story. In a quiet town surrounded by dusty roads and small houses, there lived a man named Daniel. Daniel was not poor because he had no money. He was poor because he was afraid. Afraid to lose. Afraid to fail. Afraid to try. Daniel worked at a small repair shop. Every month he received his salary, and every month he did the same thing. He paid his bills, bought the cheapest food, avoided any unnecessary spending, and locked the rest of his money inside a metal box under his bed. He was proud of that box. Each time he dropped money into it, he felt safe. Clink, clink, clink. That, he would whisper to himself, is security. His friends sometimes invited him to join small business ideas. One wanted to start a vegetable stand. Another planned to buy tools and take bigger repair jobs. But Daniel always refused. It's risky, he would say. What if we lose money? I would rather keep what I have. Years passed. The metal box grew heavier. But Daniel's life did not grow at all. His house still had cracked walls. The roof still leaked when it rained. He still walked to work in worn-out shoes with thin soles. One evening, his younger sister came to visit. She looked around his house and asked gently, "Brother, you've been working for years. Why does your life still look the same?" Daniel smiled proudly and pulled the metal box from under his bed. "I have savings," he said. She looked at him quietly and asked, "And what do your savings do for you?" He had no answer. A few months later, something unexpected happened. Prices began to rise in the town. Food became more expensive. Transport costs increased. Even simple repairs cost more than before. Daniel opened his metal box one night and counted his money. It looked like a lot, but when he calculated how much things cost now, he realized something painful. His money had not grown, but everything else had. He felt a strange fear in his chest. For the first time, he understood that saving money had protected him from spending, but it had not protected him from change. Still, he continued saving. He cut back even more. He skipped meals. He stopped fixing small problems in his house. He delayed replacing broken tools at work. Just a little more, he would tell himself. When I have enough, then I will feel secure. But enough never came. One afternoon at the repair shop, Daniel overheard two customers talking. One of them said, "I bought one small machine last year. It was expensive, but now it works for me every day. It earns even when I sleep." The other man laughed and replied, "That's the difference. Some people work for money. Others make money work for them." Those words stayed in Daniel's mind long after the men left. That night he could not sleep. He stared at the ceiling and thought about his metal box. All those years, all that sacrifice, all that fear, and yet his money just sat there. It did nothing. It built nothing. Changed nothing. In the morning, Daniel did something unusual. He took the metal box, placed it on the table, and opened it slowly. He stared at the savings he had protected for so long. Then he asked himself a question he had never dared to ask before. What if safety is the very thing keeping me small? He remembered his friend's old idea about the vegetable stand. He remembered the repair jobs he had refused because they required better tools. He remembered every opportunity he had rejected in the name of saving. Suddenly, he realized something powerful. He was not building wealth. He was building a cage, and he had locked himself inside it. That day, instead of going straight home after work, Daniel walked to the market. He stopped in front of a stall selling second-hand equipment. There was a small but powerful machine used for polishing and finishing repairs. something the shop didn't own yet. With that machine, he could take on better-paying jobs. His heart beat fast. Cost almost half of his savings. Half. His hands trembled. For years, he had protected that money like treasure. Now he was thinking of releasing it. The seller noticed his hesitation and said, "It's not cheap, but it earns more than it costs." Daniel swallowed hard. For the first time in his life, he understood what the wise man meant. Saving money keeps it still. Using money wisely gives it movement, and movement creates growth. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them with a decision. "I'll take it," he said. The metal box at home felt lighter that night. But strangely, Daniel felt heavier with responsibility and lighter in fear. For the first time, he had not chosen safety. He had chosen growth. The next morning, Daniel carried the machine into the repair shop before anyone else arrived. His hands were still unsure, but his mind was clear. When his boss saw it, he frowned. "What is that?" Daniel replied, "An opportunity." At first, the boss was skeptical. But when customers began asking about higher quality finishing work, the kind only that machine could do, something changed. Within days, Daniel started taking on extra jobs after regular hours. Small polishing tasks, detailed finishing work, the kind of work customers were willing to pay more for. The first evening he earned extra money from the machine. He didn't rush home to lock it away. He sat quietly on a wooden bench outside the shop and stared at the notes in his hand. This money felt different. It hadn't been saved. It had been created. Weeks passed. Daniel worked harder than before, but this time, every hour had purpose. He wasn't just trading time for salary. He was building skill, building reputation, building value. Customers began asking for him by name. "Where is Daniel? He does the cleanest work." He kept a small notebook in his pocket. Inside, he wrote every extra job, every payment, every expense. For the first time, he wasn't just counting money. He was studying it, understanding it, directing it. After 2 months, something surprising happened. The machine had already paid for itself. Everything it earned now was growth. One evening, his sister visited again. She noticed something different immediately. The house was still simple. The walls were still cracked. But Daniel's eyes had changed. They no longer carried fear. They carried vision. He showed her the notebook. "I used to think saving was the goal," he said quietly. "But saving was only preparation." She smiled and asked, "Preparation for what?" "For building something." Daniel didn't stop there. Instead of locking away the extra income, he made another decision. He bought better tools that allowed him to accept even more complex jobs. Some of his co-workers laughed at him. "You spend too much," they said. "You should keep that money safe." But Daniel now understood the difference between spending and investing. Spending takes money away. Investing sends money to work. Months turned into a year. Daniel's reputation grew beyond the small repair shop. People from nearby towns began bringing work directly to him. Eventually, his boss approached him with an offer. "Why don't we partner?" the boss said. "You bring in the advanced jobs. We'll expand." It was an opportunity Daniel would have rejected in the past. Too risky, too uncertain. But this time he didn't hesitate. He agreed. They expanded the shop, added more machines, hired 2 apprentices. The once quiet repair corner became one of the busiest spots in town. Daniel still remembered the metal box under his bed. One night he opened it again. Inside there was less money than before. But now outside that box there was more. More income, more skill, more confidence, more opportunity. He finally understood something powerful. Money sitting still shrinks in a changing world. Money in motion grows with it. Years later, Daniel became the owner of the repair business. He trained young workers not just in technical skills, but in mindset. One apprentice once asked him, "Sir, how do I become rich?" Daniel didn't answer immediately. He walked to the back room and brought out the old metal box. It was scratched and faded. He placed it on the table. "This box," he said, "kept me small for years." The apprentices looked confused. "I thought saving money was the safest path. And saving is important. But saving alone will not make you rich." He opened the box and let them see inside. Money is a seed. If you lock a seed in a box, it stays a seed forever. But if you plant it, if you nurture it, if you allow it to face sunlight and storms, it becomes a tree. He paused. Richness is not about how much money you hold. It's about how much value you create. The room was silent. Daniel closed the box gently. "I am not wealthy because I saved," he continued. "I am wealthy because I learned to use what I saved." And that was the lesson the wise man wanted me to understand when he first said those shocking words. Saving money won't make you rich. It might protect you. It might prepare you. It might give you breathing space. But growth, real growth, comes when you take courage, turn knowledge into action, and allow your resources to multiply. The wise man looked at me and said one final thing. Do not worship safety. Use it. Do not fear risk. Understand it. And never let your money sleep forever. Since that day, I stopped asking, how much can I save? And I started asking, how can I make this grow? Because in the end, wealth is not built by holding tightly. It is built by building wisely. And that lesson changed everything. If the story spoke to you, if it shifted the way you see money, growth, and opportunity, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who believes saving alone is enough. And if you're ready to think bigger, act smarter, and grow beyond limits, make sure you subscribe to Tales with Alvis for more powerful stories that challenge the way you think and push you toward real transformation. Like this video so more people can discover this message. Comment below, I choose growth. And remember, don't just protect what you have. Build what you want.